Welcome back to the finals, where G2 are just one win away from winning the EU LCS Summer Split, the 4th title in a row, the 1st seed for Worlds in China next month. And gentlemen, this would be the first time in EU LCS history that it ended in a 3-0. Let's see whether or not Misfits make history. It's not exactly the title or the award that you want to secure. And we're also verifying whether or not it's the first game where Baron died and Dragon did not. It'll be a quick start if it is. Gentlemen,
a lot of small records right there.
A lot of small records that are very meaningful to me. G2 picked blue side. What do you think that means, Vedius? Let's start with you in terms of how this can affect the draft.
So in game one, what we saw was a focus on taking away the Tristana and also taking away the Morgana. I expect G2 to not need to change anything.
Yeah.
They can still ban away the Gnar if they want to. But we saw that they also have answers. There's ways to play around it too. And we even saw a bit of a hover of Jace from the expect. Even if the Gnar comes out, I feel like that he would be willing to bring it out here in the final.
Yeah, I really want to see Alphari on Gnar or Draven. I really want to see Syndra as well from PowerOfEvil and just try and play around his lane so much in the early game. I'm still sad that we see Galio banned just because G2 have really not shown they are super good at it. And obviously you're now in a trap where you feel like if you don't ban it now and he plays it and wins with it, you just feel like you should have banned it again. So it's a tough situation.
And all I really want to see from Misfits is more playmaking, more options around the early game, because I think that G2 as a team, one way in which you can take advantage of them is by snowballing an early kind of advantage. We saw it at Rift Rivals, we saw it at MSI, and I feel like Misfits is the kind of team that could take advantage of that, especially if Maxlore and PowerOfEvil pick something like that Zac Syndra combo.
The crowd still, they do not like Cho'gath. Expect he knows. It's actually been fairly successful today, at least.
It has been. It's been a good pick for Expect. He's 4-0 on that pick in playoffs. I think the Parisian crowd just does not like it because of their solo queue experiences.
Could be, but also the Gnar ban makes it easier for Cho'gath to be successful here. And we are still looking at other champions like Trundle that can still be used against it. Misfits steal away the Alistar, put it on Ignar's side.
But now we're looking at an early lock of the Tahm Kench from G2. They want to make sure that Mithy gets something comfortable, but Misfits want comfort as well. They're still putting PowerOfEvil onto the Orianna.
Now I wonder if we get Xayah for Zven, because he doesn't want to play Sivir against Alistar. That is one of the hard counters against Sivir. Misfits Gaming otherwise might just grab Xayah on their own side and have that Alistar-Xayah lane.
Well, Sivir's been working out so well for Zven. G2 finished phase 1 by locking in Morgana, a champion that's been banned several times. Misfits did not go for the Syndra, which is what we're maybe hoping for. You can see PowerOfEvil, the man on your screen right now, needs to have a bigger impact. His shockwaves have been more like meh waves this series, and they've not hurt G2 at all.
And I really want to see PowerOfEvil step up. He was one of the hyped up players coming into this final. So far, he has not been able to live up to said expectations. Whereas Perkz, he's having a phenomenal series. And with champions like the Cassio, the LeBlanc, Syndra, all still available, G2 are once again setting him and Zven up for success.
And Misfits here are now trying to match the super late game scaling that G2 have been showing us before with the big tanks in the front. They get Sejuani from Maxlore. He's been actually saving his jungle pick for second phase the other 2 games. Now he wants this early on so it doesn't get banned away.
Great shot there of the venue as we're in phase 2 bans. Corki taken away by Misfits. G2 Esports got the options available to them. Misfits as well going to have to prioritize where they go with their bans. It's going to be a Jax taken off the table.
I mean, G2 right now identifying some of the things we mentioned. Alphari not being able to be on a damage dealer up in the top lane. They're just gonna remove even more options for him. Trundle is still available that he could play, but then I think Misfits needs to ban LeBlanc, because otherwise Perkz can pick that again against the Orianna and then also make Trundle's life horrible.
Step 1, ban LeBlanc. So did G2 respond by banning Trundle themselves? If they've already got Jax and Gnar taken off the table?
Can definitely do it. I think it would have been a fine ban from them. So G2 reading the situation correctly after Misfits tried to make a little bit of a play here in the draft.
In terms of first pick, they could just lock in their AD carry, give Alphari the counter pick. Xayah is something that is still a big comfort for Ansama, but they could choose themselves to take the Sivir and go more towards that team fighting playstyle.
Oh, Renekton here is a damage dealer up in the top lane. It does require Maxlore to play around the lane, which is something they can definitely do here with the double melee champions with a lot of chain CC from Sejuani Renekton. In the mid lane though, Cassiopeia, Syndra are still there as picks against this Orianna. It's not like Perkz is running out of options.
All right, so what does Maxlore run in the jungle? There's some early game power there in Renekton. There's some late game safety. Thank you very much on the Sejuani as I'm blinded here. It is just Alphari, the AD carry left for the option, and it's going to be the double ADCs for G2. Kog'Maw, a little bit of a surprise to me.
Oh! He does it in the finals. The Draven for Hansama. For those that don't know, he was famous for this in his Challenger debut. This was his legendary pick from solo queue. He made a name for it in Challenger. He brought it out a few times throughout this year. And now, when their backs are against the wall, when he has an Alistar in his lane against a Kog'Maw, he goes back to comfort and he goes, this is it.
And now we know why he didn't just take the Xayah and sit with that AD carry again. He was saving this Draven for the very last pick. Morgana's Black Shield is here to try and stop the Alistar from getting onto Zven and letting that Draven then hammer away onto him. But Hansama, it is, as you said, it's pure comfort, but it's something new.
And it's the same for Alphari with that Renekton, a style of champion that suits him. Arguably where he's better and he's more available to the team at taking some control. So, backs against the wall for the first time ever. It would be a 3-0 if Misfits cannot make this Renekton Draven work out.
My biggest concern for Misfits is the fact that Maxlore is on Sejuani. Not the strongest in terms of early pressure. Once you get level 6, yes, you can set up a few ganks, but he might be forced to stay mid lane and try and keep PowerOfEvil safe during a Lucian who's going to look to bully you in the face.
We're loading up into game 3, loading up into what could be the last battle of the night here in Paris. To round out the summer split, to crown our champion. Will it be G2 Esports or will we see more games?
Match 3.
Bias be damned, I want another game. Misfits, let's see what you can do.
They picked Draven, Quickshot.
Of course they did. Unfortunately, Hansama's not using the Shoutcaster skin, though I will accept the Soul Reaver. Paris is going crazy for Hansama's Draven. Okay, let's talk about this early game impact. Let's talk about what this Renekton and Draven can do and what Misfits have to do to unlock a win here in the finals.
Well, I think Maxlore should play around top lane, and I actually think even at level 3 he can be impactful because there is a stun from Renekton into the stun from Sejuani, and we saw the burst yesterday when H2K played that combo with Renekton and Sejuani. I would love to see that try and shut down Cho'gath early. PowerOfEvil will have to try and fend for himself, and when you have a Draven, he is not here to just bully the lane completely. He actually just wants to farm. He wants to just rush a BT, get a ton of AD, and then start fighting.
I wonder if he will rush a BT, because I've seen a variation of builds from a bunch of different Dravens. Sometimes you see the early Ghost Blade. I've seen a few even go for the Dusk Blade of Drakthar for that additional bit of burst. Like, there are so many variations on whether we want that early lethality. Do you still want the crit in your build? It all depends on where Hansama is trying to build that lead.
I'm going to say yes to the crit, no to the lethality against the Cho'gath Gragas.
I agree. But we saw one-shot Rengar last game.
I mean, we did. That's very true. But I think going for early lifesteal on Draven is super, super good because your traits are basically just auto-attack traits against each other. So you will always take some damage in return. If you get some lifesteal early on, you can just keep trading with the enemy AD carry over and over and over. And eventually you will start dealing more damage than him in the pure 1v1.
Well, let's see how well Hansama performs. The last time he played it was a 2-0 win in spring, back on 7.3. The LCS stats team got me covered with that one as Perkz has got PowerOfEvil covered. Dashes forward to the Relentless Pursuit and puts some damage down onto PowerOfEvil. He had such a great performance in the previous game.
Up in the top lane, expect placed a very early ward in case like a level 2 Sejuani gank would happen. If Alphari saw that, they might be able to time the ward here and know exactly when it runs out, allowing Maxlore then to gank. He's right now all the way in the river. Clearly they did not see this ward get placed. Ooh, did he sneak out of it? He was just turning around the corner. Okay, they definitely know it's there.
But now the ward from Perkz as well, covering the river too. Maxlore will be spotted out, which means that Expect is very aware of the possible invades, while Trick makes his way down to the bottom lane. Overextension slightly. The Misfits, they disengage. So no early pressure coming out from either junglers so far.
Oh, nothing just yet. Just showing face in the lanes. Alphari shoving Expect all the way in, as is expected. Renekton into Cho'gath.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you need this Renekton to get ahead. You have great setup with Sejuani to camp that lane. They're even looking for a potential tower dive. PowerOfEvil, he's on the way. He's spotted here on the ward. Expect staying under his turret for now.
They support though. Trick and Perkz making their way. Maxlore did not flash with the Arctic Assault. Instead, Expect backed away. He respected the ability. And obviously that vision helping out. A little bit of shenanigans here as PowerOfEvil finds Perkz. The attack and dissonance trading back and forth. A little bit of movement speed buff. Command attack goes up. PowerOfEvil winning this trade.
Level 4 PowerOfEvil. Remember how valuable the early points in skills are when you only have base values. The fact that PowerOfEvil can put a second point in his queue means that he will always win out on these very early skirmishes against Perkz, especially with that additional bit of movement speed from the river to avoid those queues. So smart from PowerOfEvil to recognize he can win out on those trades.
Trick is around though, not spotted by any wards.
Flash for flash. Trick once again with the early gank. Talking about Trick, he did that in game 1 of the series on that Draven. All playoffs. The Trick that won back-to-back MVPs last year was showing up, reading his opponents, playing well, and really just showing what his ceiling looks like when he plays at his best.
It's a tendency we often see from Trick. Yes, he has a few bad performances here and there, but when it really matters, he often steps up. And it's usually around helping his mid laners succeed. Back at MSI, during these playoffs, we've always seen him come to fruition when G2 needed him, and so far he has helped his team achieve that 2-0 and is one game away from securing the summer final.
And we're seeing now on the screen the Alphari just pushing Expect to the tower over and over, trying to win on CS. Misfits, while they would love to kill Expect already, might have to wait for some level 6s to come in and then go for another tower dive against him. But you take the CS lead, and then soon you try and go up there and actually kill the Cho'gath.
Oh, such great combinations there from Alphari. Plus 10, doing really, really well. Hansama and Ignar not yet able to take control of this Kog'maw Morgana lane that they're facing off into.
No, but you gotta keep in mind, like, both AD carries in early laning phase just want to farm.
Yep.
Like they don't have that much damage at this point. You really need to stack more raw AD on Draven for him to really hit hard. And obviously for Zven, it's all about trading with W.
All right, Mithy's going to get the black shield down. Zven, BioArcane Barrage, barking his way until he can bite back. Doesn't yet have a lot of damage. That was so lame, sorry.
Just really want to echo that sentiment there from Deficio. The fact that it's the empowered auto types. You can see when Hansama is spinning his axes, that's where the true damage comes from. And he can be a little bit predictable as Shockwave comes out mid. Dash is unavailable.
All right, Maxlore's got the flash available, doesn't jump in. Manages to get some damage onto Perkz, but he's able to E away to safety. And no kill yet, no first blood in game 3 of the summer finals.
But this is what we talked about, Maxlore being forced to babysit around the middle lane. Yes, Perkz wasn't quite having the same level of pressure, but he's still making sure that PowerOfEvil, who has no summoner spells, is kept safe and healthy. Look at the vision that's invested around some of the entrances. It means that he's not trying to snowball this Renekton in the top lane, even though he's getting a pretty healthy lead.
Again, he's waiting for his level 6, so he can start going for that tower dive, as we mentioned. Knowing that Cho'gath is, at this point, a little bit too tanky to just die without a ton of chain CC on the way. PowerOfEvil winning the mid lane as well in terms of his CS. Won some good early trades against Perkz, and he's not really too afraid of the Lucian at this point.
No, came out advantageous from that early roam as well. Good damage onto Perkz, zoning him away. Early Bramble Vest picked up by Expect, so it'll do very well into Alphari and Hansama. And if PowerOfEvil decides to go for his Wit's End build, Nash's Tooth build, sorry, again, even PowerOfEvil will take some damage from that Thornmail. More than usual anyway.
Just as a quick thing, for any Orianna players at home, Morello into Zhonya's, or just rushing the arm guard at the very least against the Lucian is extremely valuable, especially in the early laning phase, because armor is a great way to just mitigate some of the early pressure that Lucian likes to put down. This is a very personal build from PowerOfEvil, and it's something that he prefers. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is always the most optimal one.
Yeah, and of course PowerOfEvil, this is his 3rd final with his 3rd team. Played here with Origin, played here with Unicorns of Love. and is now playing here with Misfits. Will it be his second place? At the very least, Misfits are going to Worlds. They lose here now, and they'll take that second seed. But Hansama wants to try give PowerOfEvil a title. A lot of damage back and forth with those spinning axes. Forced to back away, and Sven and Mithy doing a good job.
Mithy's ulti almost managed to connect and actually stun up the Draven here. Maxlore is right back towards the top side. Alphari's level 7 is here. He's strong with his ulti. He can tank the tower. Maxlore wants to get that kill. They waited. They showed some patience. He allowed Alphari to just sit and push the lane. They're forcing Cho'gath away. The goal here is just to get more damage on tower and deny more experience from the Cho'gath.
All right, Maxlore's going to get denied. Spotted out by Perkz. The culling is available. Perkz can decide to chase. Dashes over the wall. Flash away from Maxlore. Flash is still available for Perkz. First blood is available. Flashes. There we go. Piercing light. And more importantly, red buff as well.
Look at the smirk on Perkz' face. He knew exactly where Maxlore was because of the ward that is just to the left of him right now. G2 were prepared for the dive from Misfits. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. The play gets red and now PowerOfEvil's the target.
Oh, body slam flash was beautiful. Ignar's trying to interrupt, but it's a 2v3. Pulverize comes down.
Nice.
PowerOfEvil even sidesteps. Gets himself a shockwave. Are they turning this around?
Draven.
Trick and Ignar. They win. It's dead kill as Trick is down. Expect Force to flash. Misfits win a 2v3.
That's the kind of outplay you need when you're down 2-0 in a final. Mithy could not hit anything with his Morgana, so PowerOfEvil just turn it around and a quick kill onto Trick that used the flash to engage. Great play here in the mid lane for Misfits, and they needed this play so badly.
Misfits take and maintain the lead. Look at the mini-map. Maxlore's coming in from the side. Perkz has got no flash. He's stuck around. He's already caught. Kill is secured by Maxlore.
Vengeance for Maxlore. You thought that you were taking away my red buff, but you are simply refreshing it for me, Perkz. He gets the shutdown in mid, and Misfits are coming back into this game. The early game lead that we wanted to see is starting to come into fruition. But now we need to see them continue the pressure. But let's see how this all kicked off.
First fight up in the top lane. Perkz feeling so confident on the Lucian. Nice calling, even hits it when Maxlore flashes out. And now he's using both summoners to chase this kill. Meaning when he joins the fight in the mid lane, those summoners are now gone. So this is the engage from G2 here.
And this is what we were praising Trick for, his engage, his setup, but he had no further mana. Mithy couldn't land any of his abilities because Ignar was just playing spoiler. PowerOfEvil plays the fight well, patiently, and then when they see the opportunity for a turnaround, they go for it.
Mid lane is an EU dodging skill shots, man. Yesterday, today, PowerOfEvil gets out. It's not done yet because this was Perkz getting dove.
And this is just a 3-man collapse. Roaming Ignar is best. Ignar pairs that up with Maxlore. They know full well that there is no summoner spells available for Perkz, and they get the shutdown once more onto the mid lane. Lucian, and now look at that CS differential, Quickshot.
Currently also 270 stacks on Hansama's Draven in the bottom lane. It is a classic Draven start of going 0-0. Farm, cash in, 1 kill, and suddenly you have 2 items to the enemy's 1.
Gentlemen, I challenge you both to see how much gold he cashes in if and when that kill is secured.
Challenge accepted, Quickshot.
For Hansama. And we'll see whether or not Alphari's Renekton can also start to take off. He's got plus 20 CS. Mid lane, plus 25 CS. It's a 1,300 gold lead for the team comp that is meant to be ahead in the early game. That is very crucial.
And a team comp that can really shut down a Lucian. Again, the Lucian is picked to win lane. He didn't really do it last game, but then he had such a strong team comp around him that could just set him up for success in team fights. Misfits are now bringing a strong team fighting comp of their own. It's not this one-shot Ringguard thing that did not work at all. It's strong front line, and then it's a very strong Orianna and Draven backline combo. So it will not be as easy for Perkz to get back in this game like we saw before.
Hansama doing so well, connecting with those spinning axes. Managed to tag Zven with a stand aside. Let's see what sort of setup continues to play. Ignar can tower dive with that ultimate, but Hansama does not want to stick around in the soul shackles while all that's going on. Misfits pushing into G2's jungle in the top left quadrant.
Taking advantage of the strong Renekton and the PowerOfEvil Orianna that has a pretty significant lead over his opposition. Still tries to come out, gonna be denied by Misfits, and PowerOfEvil walks away with the blue.
And right now we're also waiting for Alphari to get his black cleaver so he can actually shred some armor against Expect up in that top lane. Then Maxlore can once again visit the top side, win that 2v2. Alphari has been controlling the lane, winning in CS. PowerOfEvil winning CS as well in the mid lane. It's only really Zven who's going even with the counterpart.
And Hansama, by the way, that counterpart, 330 stacks on that Draven, continuing to scale up.
You can feel the tension building. The crowd is already heavily in support of Hansama. And the moment he gets that cash in, I'm just waiting for the crowd to erupt in elation. As Misfits, they currently hold the lead and they're going to get first tower.
Oh man, this tower's going to drop. Perkz can do nothing to stop it. No culling available. PowerOfEvil continues to extend the lead. Plus 30 CS at this point. And it's a gold lead continuing to get bigger.
Expect once again under his tower. Maxlore once again around the top lane. Let's see if we can get a reaction from G2. Sending the bottom lane up here to try and help the Cho'gath.
They're going to have to send more Deficio because Misfits' army is on the way. PowerOfEvil and Ignar coming in from the side. Great Dark Binding prevents any follow-up. Mithy with one spell. The culling is body blocked by Ignar for a few shots, but the tower is potentially at risk. No one is there, nor are the minions, so G2 defends.
But all the G2 towers are at risk right now because Hansama is winning on his side and just constantly pushing in. On the top side, we know the Renekton is going to win against the Cho'gath still, so at the moment, Misfits are looking at one of those games where you might just cash in all 3 outer turrets.
All right, gentlemen, Death Dawn's picked up for Hansama, Rod of Ages for PowerOfEvil, and Alphari Black Cleaver. Is that the expected first item? As
Yes,
obviously
it is.
PoE's going Nashes as well.
Well, when you're against someone who's stacking a ton of armor, rushing the Black Cleaver is perfectly fine. He might also go Blade of the Ruined King second. We've seen that from Renekton when you're just sticking to that side lane and trying to win the side lane.
It's a matter of how Misfits want to play these next few fights because the person that you've always got to be mindful of is Zven on this Kog'Maw in 4-5v5. He's going to be a big threat, as he always has been throughout this series. And while a Draven, you do build a lot of AD and you will do a lot of damage, he's still got to find ways of shredding through these tanks. And the one thing we know about Kog'Maw is he does a pretty good job of that.
Oh, that's definitely the case, especially as the game continues to play out. It's still a big lead for Misfits. They're 15-8 when ahead at 15 minutes. And let's see if they can actually take the first game in the finals.
Yeah, and they're in such a good spot at the moment because the very first item, the Rage Blade for Zven, is super expensive. He didn't even get it when he returned to base here. He's just sitting on the components at the moment. He's very weak at this stage of the game, so getting top lane tower is easy. They should actually be able to get an Ocean Drake as well after if they want to play around it. G2 trying something.
2v3 once again. This time it's Maxlore and PowerOfEvil. The explosive cask has bounced out. Maxlore as the target. Shockwave catches two. Mithy is going to flash over it. Maxlore stays alive a few seconds longer until Perkz takes him down. This time round, G2 get the kill. Alphari's got caught up by too many members. The Dark Binding takes him out. There's no Shockwave because it's already been used. Alphari's dropped. Dominus wasn't enough. All of a sudden, Ignar's rejoined the fight. Perkz is running low on mana and he dashes over the wall. But Misfits got the tower in the top lane.
Very questionable decision-making regardless. Misfits try to force a fight 2 versus 3. The entire team of G2 were in the bottom side of the map. And when you have your Draven top side, there's no way that Misfits is going to be able to send that many members to be able to win out on that exchange.
Yeah, Misfits just gave G2 away back in this game here, guaranteeing them suddenly some kills on the Lucian, just like last game that actually lost its lane, but are then getting gifted some very easy kills to get some gold and rush towards his Black Cleaver as the second item. So suddenly Perkz finding his way back in this game here, and Rage Blade now completed for Zven as well. So Maxlore, I'm not sure if he's expecting the rest of G2 to return to the top side and trying to defend, seeing as he just dives over, because there's not a lot of vision on the bottom side from Misfits.
The only thing I can think of is maybe he wanted Alphari to TP in, but Alphari was forced to leave his tower. There was a Cho'gath there as well. Like, I don't know. I can't truly understand the decision-making there from Maxlore.
One of those situations where they do not have the full vision that we have.
Of course.
They are operating under maybe some wrong information, and then they end up making the wrong call.
All right, while we're in the replay, Dragon fell at 17 minutes and 18 seconds. Hansama's going to get chunked down, support from the rest of Misfits. I just want to confirm something, that during week 11, Misfits versus UOL, a game ended with no Dragon killed, but Baron secured, and it was Misfits against Unicorn, so it has happened in EU before. It was confirmed it did not happen in NA. Perkz was the target of an engage from Misfits. The Shockwave unable to kill him. On the back end, Expect gets stunned up. He's getting chunked down by PowerOfEvil with that Nash's tooth. Is knocked backwards, not yet killed. Hansama not gonna find the kill. Alphari takes him down. That's the third for Misfits. And Alphari gets his first of the game.
That looked like a dangerous fight for Misfits, especially when Maxlore goes in, gets knocked back by G2, and he's left up a creek without a paddle because he doesn't have any way of escaping a real follow-up, but then Ignar comes to save the day. Misfits, the TP immediately from Alphari, allows them to have the numbers advantage and get the collapse down onto Expect. They get the kill, but they do not translate that into any towers.
Kill for a teleport is often not a trade you're looking for, but they got a lot of damage in the mid lane as well. Perkz got to kill some of the minions at least. Was taken very low for it.
Imagine if he had more AP instead of a Nash's tooth. Would that have been a one-shot?
Let's not forget that Nash's tooth still gives you 80 AP, so it is still a fair chunk. It's not like he's just weak in terms of his abilities because of Nash's tooth.
I mean, one of the bigger problems you could argue is that by going for the early Rod of Ages, yes, you lose some of that early burst, but regardless, the key thing that we have to take away here is that Misfits, they took a bit of a gamble. They tried to force a fight onto Perkz rather than just focusing down the towers. They end up getting nothing. They do get a fair amount of damage on both top and mid, but Expect has the TP advantage. Baron is spawning in about 30 seconds, and while they don't necessarily have to make the Baron play, knowing that you have that advantage is something that G2 can still look to play around.
We're getting that Blade of the Rune King as well from Alphari, just trying to commit to winning the bottom lane. If the rest of his team, the 4-man group, with support, AD carry, mid and jungle, can actually push in the mid lane, which they should be able to at this point with the Draven, who's fairly farmed, and with 2 items Orianna, then it allows Alphari to play super aggressive in the 1v1 in the bottom lane. And suddenly Misfit have 2 winning lanes that should give them full control of the river, which eventually will mean Nashor.
And Baron Nashor will then mean the game for Misfits. That's what they're looking for. 2 items slowly creeping in. Sven's had that Rage Blade for a little while.
Ooh, they're gonna try and kill Expect here.
All right, Tower Dive is option. Feast is on cooldown for Expect, and Alphari and Maxlore. There goes the Arctic Assault, slice in. Rupture gets the knock-up. I think Alphari sidestepped it, in fact. Maxlore's tanking up a lot of the turret shots. He's now going to trade. Dark Binding will buy some time. Expect is able to survive for now.
And really beautifully played by Mithy, walking in with the Black Shield, enough to mitigate the CC, and then using the Dark Binding as well.
It's on its way.
Caught Morgana.
Oh.
Gonna hit, gonna get bounced back. No kill going in favor of Misfits, but they force him back, and now Zven, he's in the bottom lane. Hansama, he's hanging up around the Baron area, but again, not going to be forced by the team for the time being. So Misfits, they try to make a play, and they don't really get anything out from it except for the exhaust from Mithy.
540 stacks on this Draven. Oh. He's just waiting for 1 kill to cash it all in, and then he can actually be powerful. Exactly. He needs the kill though, Vedi.
He needs the kill. And if he dies, he loses a lot of stacks. It's a high-risk investment.
What's the opposite of money, money, money then?
Debt.
Debt.
That's a new song, I guess.
It's not quite as exciting, which is why there's not many songs about it. The Misfits are still in the lead. It is still a 2,000 gold advantage. Vision is not the deepest for Misfits, so they're still going to break through that bottom outer turret. And Deficio has talked about how those side lane pressure can unlock Baron. Baron has been such a pivotal objective throughout this entire series. We've seen the dance, we've seen the fights, and we'll see what happens this game.
Maxlore is again hovering bottom side, and Mithy is again reacting by instantly moving down to apply some support in case the same tower dive appears. 2 items now on Svenja. He's getting further into the late game on this Kog'maw.
Just want to take a very small opportunity to talk about how Hansama, just watch how he juggles 3 axes, because it's actually very, very impressive how what he'll do is he'll have 2 stacked, and you can see it now. He's always got 2 underneath his belt, and there'll always be 1 in the air. If he does it in team fights, it's a lot of damage.
Well, let's find out. Trick is going to throw the barrel out. There's support from Misfits coming up. Hansama needs to buy time. He gets caught out. Flashes to the side. Now Ignar throws down the Unbreakable Will. It's G2 that are now surrounded. Sven's making his way up from the south, and Misfits looking for the engage. G2 are split up. Defensive dash from Alphari and Flash. Perkz is the target as Misfits are running him down. Sven has killed Alphari.
Give him a
Perkz
stack.
stays alive. He dashes forward. Kill secured by Maxlore. So far, it's a 1 for 1 in favor of G2.
And Draven did not get the kill yet. Maxlore ended up taking it. in that 4v1, but of course they lost Renekton because he got binded by Mithy, I think, again.
And I also think that just the coordination in a lot of these fights seems a little bit off because Misfits, they were the ones coming in for the collapse of G2, but then Perkz walked away from his team while the rest of them just grouped up, and this forced Misfits to split up, allowing G2 to just force the collapse down onto Alphari. That got them the kill, and they're starting to make life difficult for this Renekton.
And if Hansama can actually go back next time and get an Infinity Edge, he suddenly will start dealing a ton of damage with the crits. He already sits with the rapid fire cannon. Fight again, nice TP from Expect all the way here behind Misfits. So it's forcing Hansama to play defensive and leave the team fight. He's no longer there. He's actually not part of the fight at the moment. It's just 4v5. And then that's also why the rest of Misfits can't really dive further.
Yeah, you can see just how the focus from Misfits seems to be divided. Some of them want to go onto the 4-man unit of G2, while the others want to go on to Perkz. And while they were making that decision, Alphari was just slowly being chunked down. They decide to go for the collapse, but now the Misfits team, they're actually starting off the Baron.
All right, what does that mean? Misfits have peeled away. Shockwave onto Perkz.
They got Perkz! Cash in!
Perkz! That was the cash! How much money did he make? Someone find out! Expect is now the target as Misfits and all of Paris are celebrating! It's a double kill for Hansama! Happy birthday, buddy! What do Misfits do with it?
And Misfits, they finally win a big fight against G2. They catch the mid laner off guard. Perkz ends up dropping. Deficio, give us the big number.
He managed to get 1,348 gold from just his passive, adding the 300 from the kill as well for this
money, money, money!
And he's going right back, fully completing his last Whisper with all the gold he just got from these kills.
4,000 gold in the lead. And let's keep our eyes on Hansama as he picks up his first kill on Draven.
So Ignar with the flank onto Perkz. He gets CC'd, and the follow-up combo from Misfits is enough to get the obliteration. Mithy is off on the flank, and he can't really provide any utility. And Ignar just zones away the rest of the team. This Alistar pick is proving huge in this series.
Yeah, again, Ignar's now doing what Mithy just did to Misfits in 2 of the games. He's constantly stopping the carries from dealing damage. He's finding flank engages. Alistar showing up big time.
Oh, let's see what Ignar can do to help out the rest of the squad. Misfits now started off Baron, pulled G2 towards them once again, but peeled away. While Hansama didn't deal the most damage of the team fight, it was the crucial last ticks of damage. Got him the double kill, got him the big cash out, and it got him Lord Dominic's regards.
Also important to highlight that Mithy is delaying his Ardent Sensor a lot. He valued getting mobility and getting wards in the early game. So Zven is not at this point yet where he's getting buffed by an Ardent Sensor. He has like 3 or 4 items on his own, and he can start literally shredding tanks. He still needs quite some time before he's actually killing Maxlore or Alphari.
And that's what Misfits need to bank on, Deficio. It's a 4,000 gold lead.
But the Ardent Sensor is there soon from Mithy. You can see the items right there. Misfits, 4,000 gold lead. Still looking to force another fight.
Deficio, that's great. Ardent Sensor, love it. Really good stuff on G2, but this guy's playing Draven. He brought it out at the clutch moment. They are 2-0 down. Hansama goes back for comfort, and he is 2-0-2 on one of his best, or one of his most comfortable champions, I should say. And now, Misfits, they have the lead. They're the ones setting up around the Baron. And Misfits are in a position to keep the tradition of G2 going.
And the tradition being G2 win 3-1 in finals. That was what they were talking about. There's never been a 3-0 in EU LCS. Let's find out if that will change, whether or not G2 can dig deep, because like we said, it's all about Misfits. They can play the side lanes. Once again, Hansama is top. Alphari has teleport. He can go bottom with that Blade of the Rune King and Black Cleaver and try to put pressure and expect that tower in the bottom lane still standing.
Well, last time Misfits found a path through the jungle that was not warded by G2. That's why Ignar actually came in behind Perkz and surprised him. There are a few defensive ward plays now by G2 side to try and spot this Alistar. Flashes are available as well. Misfits should look to play around Baron and just use it as a tool to engage. Start the Baron, force G2 to react, and then engage onto them.
We've got to give some props here to PowerOfEvil as well. 0-0-6 on his Orianna, up 60 CS. Got himself that Void Staff in. His shockwaves this game have felt much more impactful. Helps the team has got a few more damage sources that are working out as well. That's what needs to happen for Misfits. to pick up this win.
Now what I'd like to see from Misfits is just starting the Baron to get the TP out from Expect so they can then send Alphari off to the side lane. They will take this down relatively quickly, but here comes the answer from G2.
All right, Baron's down to 50%. Expect not teleporting yet. Now starts to channel. A Trick can come in for the 50-50 as the culling goes between the uprights until the last few ticks. Alphari gets chunked down low and Trick is now being tagged. Expect becomes the target. Ignar is trying to zone out somebody. Trick will drop. Hansama cashes out again. Ignar gets a two-man knockup. Perkz flashes away from the shockwave. Hansama's looking to run him down. Sven is spitting out the damage for days.
Oh, look at
Flashes
that!
forward. Got the hurricane. Expect looking to feast. PowerOfEvil gets summoned a heal. No stun yet. Sven is not going to be able to get another. Hansama dodges. It's Expect that goes down. Finally, Sven snipes him. It's a 2-4-1.
Such a close team fight between both teams. Sven coming up huge in the final team fight, even though initially everything was going in favor of Misfits. Ignar now just trying to run for his life as Sven is on the chase.
There was a reason we had to highlight this Zven player here. Champion, whatever. His late game carry potential with Ardent Sensor. Alistar will take some more damage, will also die and give another kill over to Zven here. Ardent Sensor was completed. 3 items are now sitting on Zven here. He is a massive threat.
And is the threat big enough to win the series? G2, they are now starting Baron. Maxlore, no smite available, it's on cooldown. Perkz and Sven with Mountain Drake and smite in their back pocket. Maxlore has become available. This could become a smite fight. Let's see how this plays out.
Oh, this is super tense. Will it be decided on this single Baron play?
Shockwave and Smite is available to Misfits if they go for the burst. Maxlore, Arctic Assault needs to be good. Baron is still being held by Trick. Expect has joined the fight. Baron's going low. Shockwave won't be enough, and it's not secured. G2 take it down. Misfits now falling, now getting crushed. Hansama needs to do something magical, but he cannot, and Misfits are crushed.
G2 find the return in the fight. It all starts with Sven. He is the one that turns it around earlier on. They get the kill onto Ignar and G2 immediately go back to the Baron. They play it patiently. They wait for Misfits to overcommit, and when they see the opportunity, they go for it. Now with the Baron, now with 5 members, they're looking to break into the base.
Man, Mithy, Sven, the rest of G2, they're now in the lead in gold. They're breaking open the base. They've got Baron-empowered minions, and they've got super minions down the mid lane. G2 on the verge of their 4th consecutive title, the first EU LCS 3-0, and the first LCS team.
Oh, they stopped 2 people. Ignar's actually behind him.
Oh, what does this mean? Trick is now being run down. Hansama with red buff, trying to get a few more kills. Got those spinning axes. Unbreakable will used by Ignar. Soul Shackles will buy just a few seconds of time. Hansama continues to chase. 3-1-1 with some blood rush, and the tick sidesteps away. Gets himself another kill. This is a momentary respite here for Misfits.
Well, there is a Drake alive, and there is a tower in the bottom lane. They can go kill as well to just get something back here. Look to be just pushing down the mid lane for now.
Remember how low that mid lane tower is after the shenanigans that happened about 10 to 15 minutes ago. Should be an easy pickup.
Give it to the Draven.
Is there enough to take the inhibitor tower, though? That's what we got to find out. Misfits now playing into Baron-empowered minions. Look at Perkz
is
in the top lane.
So there's only 3 people defending at the moment against 5 from Misfits.
But they're not going to commit Deficio. Misfits decide to back away. Alphari makes his way down, and Perkz will secure the 5th tower of the game for G2. Oh, just a slow down in game. Check out this replay brought to you by Ace of Predator.
Let's see how both teams are fighting here. Like, Draven wants to just hit the first tank in front of him, and he can do that in this fight here. But the same happens here for Zven. He also just wants to hit the tank right in front of him. So when Trick goes in, it's a good ulti first, but he gets CC'd, and now it's very easy for Draven to kill him. Look at Zven though. As soon as Ignar's ulti runs out, he will actually start dealing proper damage to this front line. And whoever steps in, he's just hitting 2 or 3 of them at the same time.
Zven just melts through the entire team of Misfits. Expect is happy to follow up with the ulti. And you think here, oh, maybe Hansama can get an outplay because Misfits were able to get the kill onto Expect, but Perkz, he's too healthy. He has the support from Mithy, and everything just falls apart for Misfits.
So this is the Baron setup here, making sure that Maxlore couldn't go in for the 50-50. Cho'gath was not there yet. So they end up actually just jumping out to kill someone.
And I feel like the big thing here for Misfits is they tried too hard to make something happen. They should have just been more patient. They should have waited on the other side and tried to go for the 50-50, but they tried to come in from the flank. They're only 4 members, and with Expect returning, they end up losing the Baron.
As we jump out of the replay, Misfits are under siege in the top lane. They're down 2,000 gold, and it's a 5v5, but Perkz has just made his way up. Gets some damage down from Hans Sama. The culling fired from behind the walls, forces Ignar to flash defensively. Yeah, it's a body slam, flash engage from Trick. He's got no cask available, but the tower falls. Maxlore will be dropping. Silence onto Hans Sama. Running for his life. It's Trick that takes him down. PowerOfEvil caught up with the Dark Binding, and Zven gets himself a double kill. G2 Esports are on the verge of winning yet another final. There is nothing standing in their way. Alphari and Ignar have to go 2v5, and there simply is not enough damage, not enough frontline, and not enough chances. The undisputed best team in Europe, G2 Esports, get themselves another kill, and for the first time in history, the 4th consecutive EU LCS title. G2 Esports are the best team in Europe.
Mesdames et messieurs, le champion d'été des pièces.
No LCS team has done it at 4 titles. G2 are 1 win away from toppling the old legacy. And there is no doubt that they are the best franchise consecutively for 2 years.
They've dominated Europe for 2 years, and it's important we celebrate greatness here. The fact that these guys can do it every single split is fantastic. They adapt to every meta, they outperform every team they're facing, and they're always winning in playoffs. That's the most important thing.
G2 Esports have continued to just show their dominance. They will be representing Europe as the #1 seed.
Mesdames et messieurs, vos champions d'été des LCS EU 2017, G2 Esports.
The smiles, the elation, the first ever 3-0 in EU LCS history. 4 titles back-to-back. The owner Ocelot, Carlos on stage, celebrating alongside Young Buck. And what a legacy they have built here in Europe. Love them or hate them, you can't deny their success.
And Misfits, in the final game, they put up a very strong fight. They made Misfits work, or they made G2 rather work for it. And I feel like Misfits, they can still be happy with the amount of growth and effort that they put into this, because this was a very competitive final right at the end.
The 1-year plan, mission accomplished. 4th in spring, 2nd in summer. The #2 seed representing Europe in China. Still room to grow for the Misfits squad, but today it's all about Perkz. It's all about G2 Esports. What about some redemption here for Trick as well, man?
Yeah.
Oft criticized.
I mean, one of the players who's been criticized the most in Europe here the last year ends up performing so well in playoffs when it really matters.
Expect one of the unsung heroes, reliable, constant, consistent. Ladies and gentlemen, that man on your screen, Zven, did not die a single time in the summer split finals.
There is a reason Zven makes every single final. There is a reason he's one of the main carries on every single team he's ever played on. He is just the best AD carry.
And there's a reason he's able to survive with the rest of the team. Mithy unlocking Zven's potential. Deficio, are Zven and Mithy the best bot lane in the West right now?
This is a European broadcast, so yes.
I will accept it. Walk of honor. Paris has been amazing. The chance for G2, the support for everybody, the celebration of the wins.
I mean, this is something G2 has well been working hard for. This is a team that obviously didn't always have a lot of support behind them, but here in Paris, the French crowd is so fantastic. They, of course, are now giving them a massive standing ovation.
What an experience that has to be for G2. The dynasty is true. Mithy said that coming into the finals, he wanted to leave a legacy behind. And he has certainly left a very impressive performance. And G2, they can only go forward from here.
Yes.
Things are looking so good for them as the World Championship is just around the corner.
Yesterday, Fnatic won, the current record holder with 5 EU LCS titles. Today, G2 holds 4 of them. Did something Fnatic never did. They won 4 in a row. Next spring, G2 have the shot at equaling the record. In Deficio, G2 Esports, it's been a long time since G2 and 8 of last year. Second place MSI this year, and they've got another shot. Their boot camp is already booked for Worlds.
Exactly, like the players will leave almost instantly to start practicing for the World Championships. And it's of course important to highlight they will have a pool 1 seed at Worlds, because these guys made top 4, even top 2 at MSI, guaranteed their own pool 1 seed, and now they grab it for themselves.
Yeah, earned that seed, earned some redemption on the international stage. The Worlds group draw, I believe, is September 12th at, I think, 2 p.m. Central European Summertime. Double check lolesports.com for the specifics.
The date is correct. I'm not sure about the time, but the date is correct.
I believe it's very early LA time. And we need to see who G2 Esports get drawn into. You can see the support, the coaches, the owner discussing what it means to have yet another title.
And right now we are just setting up to hear from some of the superstar players on G2, from Perkz and Zven. During the playoffs, these are 2 of the performers that really did step up for the team. Perkz especially in that series versus Splice to get them out of the quarterfinals. And now we get that opportunity to hear from them once more.
Superstar players, as well as superstar teamwork. As you can see, Law setting up on stage with Zven and Perkz as they get ready to celebrate what is just a phenomenal, phenomenal legacy. A little bit later, we will hear from some of the Misfits members, but for now, it's the 4-time champions G2, represented by Zven and Perkz.
Thank you very much, guys, and thank you also to the French caster. I was just joined by Perkz and Zven after this fantastic victory over Misfits. Congratulations, guys, for grabbing first place once again. You guys did amazing today, and also during the playoff after a rather difficult split, actually. So how did you manage to bounce back and grab that first place once again? Perkz, you can go.
Well, after MSI, we didn't have like any break, but we also played 1 week with subs, and then we didn't scrim much because we just came back from MSI, and then we started picking it up after revivals. We had a team talk, we had a couple of team talks actually, and we just always try to identify our problems, try to work on them. Our goal was playoffs, and now our goal is Worlds, and it's event well so far.
Pendant tout le split, le but pour l'équipe, c'était d'aller à Paris, et maintenant leur but, c'est d'aller aux Worlds. Le début a été assez difficile, étant donné qu'ils ont commencé le split avec des remplaçants. Les Rift Travels ne sont pas très bien passés non plus, mais finalement l'équipe a réussi à rebondir, et une fois de plus, ils remportent la victoire. Actually, the next question is to you both. You guys had an amazing series, and it makes you look so easy on Misfits. How did you do to make it so well?
I don't know why it went so well today. I think Misfits played well, but I think the first 2 games, their drafts are... I think they played well, but I think their drafts in the first 2 games were not good. Yeah. I think they had a wrong read on the meta. I think we had a much better read on the meta and much better preparation for this patch. And I think that our play today was very good. I think we played as a team today, and I think Misfits were close in all 3 games, but it was the small things that mattered the most, I think.
Ouais, même si la série était au final très très serrée, ce sont des petits détails qui ont fait la différence et qui ont fait que finalement ce sont G2 qui ont pu remporter la victoire. You guys have Worlds ahead. And the last time you met on international stage was at MSI actually with SKT, and you did so good. What phase of G2 will we see this time, Perkz?
Well, we'll be working our hardest to show the MSI G2, if not even better. My goal is to first get out of groups. I'll be going to Korean bootcamp in a couple of days already, just to practice first alone, and then we will go as a whole team with coaches, like coaching staff, and we will just try to work our hardest and give it our best for these roles. And I'm sure we are gonna surprise or do well.
G2 ne compte pas décevoir cette fois-ci, et dans les prochains jours, ils vont d'ailleurs s'envoler en Corée pour déjà commencer à s'entraîner. Last questions. Last question for you guys. What do you need to work on to make this time matter at Worlds and in China? And to actually get out of groups?
Well, I didn't say again? I didn't hear the question.
What do you need to work on to get out of group this time at Worlds? Zven?
What I have to work on? What do we?
Yeah.
Honestly, we just have to get a good read of the meta, play the champs that we have practiced in preparation for Worlds. The meta is usually like refined after 1 week or 2 weeks of after group stages. Everyone knows what's the best, but going into the tournament, not many people know what is the best, and some people practice and then try to adapt. But I'm sure if you just play your own style, you can get out of groups with what you prepared for.
Is there an opponent in particular you fear for now?
Sorry?
Is there an opponent in particular you're fearing for now at Worlds?
Sorry, I can't hear it.
Is there an opponent you fear in particular coming into
I'm not really
Worlds?
afraid of any team, but I'm afraid of best of ones, to be honest. I think best of ones historically is not really our thing. I think we are very slow to prepare, but we have time to like watch our opponents and prepare for their picks and stuff. We do much better, so I'm not afraid of any teams, but I'm afraid of like best of ones being many games in a few days, so this is what I'm most afraid of.
Wow, for now, congratulations for going first place once again and to end up first in the split. Pour l'instant, je vais rendre la parole à nos casteurs français pour débriefer de cette série. And in the meantime, I'm going to give it back to you guys at the caster decks to wrap up the day.
Thank you very much, Law. What a fantastic interview with Zven and Perkz there. Afraid of best of ones. 0 deaths for Zven that series, but he's afraid of single games.
It's the inability to adapt between series, and we have seen many times that G2, they're a team that is very good at preparing, but when you have 3 games on a single day, those become a little bit hard to prepare for.
It does indeed. Somebody who was very prepared today, though, is our player of the series for the EU LCS Summer Split Finals, and I don't think anybody will be surprised to see it was Mithy. His Alistar was game-changing, always in the right place at the right time, and his responses on Morgana in their previous game was beautiful to behold.
I was very impressed with Mithy's performance throughout the playoffs, and I know that community perception was, is Mithy really that good? Did he deserve to be in the All-Pro team? And I think he shut up all the haters. He really proved that he is a top-class support here in Europe, and it was very well-deserved in this series. And you have to give an admirable mention to his AD carry, Zven, as well.
Yes, we absolutely have to give an admirable mention. I mean, Zven showed up 0 deaths, as we mentioned. It was fantastic. Look, we've had some great moments here in front of the French crowd this weekend. Let's actually check out some of the big plays that have been brought to you by Acer Predator, starting with Febiven, who put on his dancing shoes versus Fnatic yesterday. Caps tried his best to run away from the H2K mid laner. Let's take a look how it played out.
On that bottom side. Obviously, Caps losing that cleanse means he can't actually get arrowed.
Arrow coming down.
It
The
hits.
sniper coming in. That's going to be the package. Now Febiven's in trouble. Damage ticking down. Cap's now going to have to run for his life. Miasma comes in. The flash over the wall. Amazing patience. There goes Febiven. What a dodge! Comes out. One more rocket, baby. Flash in. First blood. And just such an impressive way to start the series.
And I just love the use of the arrow. You can't make a play happen down bot, so let's try and make something happen in mid. It lands onto Caps. And you think that with the flash, dodging the ulti, everything going in his way, all he has to do is land the ult. But Febiven reads it. He gets the sidestep. Shay is here to add a bit of support as well. And everything just goes in favor to set up Febiven for success.
I will try mid fast. I use your 2 here. Okay, this is good, yeah? Here.
Oh, Galio is still top.
He hit. I'm moving to it as well.
I go mid.
Just all around to mid.
I go from both sides.
No flash.
I'm here. Nice, good job, baby. Good job, good job.
I like how he said, no flash, and then the Cassio flashes away.
So sick. The turnaround was amazing. Look, later on in that series, H2K, they marched into Fnatic's base. They had a 10,000 gold lead. It was looking certain to end until the Summer Split MVP, he took over the fights.
Fnatic, maybe looking for the fight. Rekkles does have On the Hunt available immediately. They're running forward, but Odoamne is trying to dish out the damage. Caps makes his way into the backside. Bevivin is gone. Fnatic under a fantastic position to keep this team fight going. Keep your eyes on Rekkles. He is the only one that matters, but it is Nuclear who is firing back. It is Nuclear who's looking to clean this up. Fnatic need to keep the members alive. Rekkles! The flash forward, the broad to body block. Fnatic destroy H2K in the fight.
Rekkles gets the turnaround, the triple kill for Fnatic, and they keep their hopes alive!
I block. If it jumps, we kill him.
Nice. Nice. We can kill him. Nice! Just push out one way, maybe. Oh, we 6 items. Get the fight.
I actually don't know what was louder, whether or not it was Dracos and Vedius or the Parisian crowd. I've never heard Dracos go that high-pitched. It was phenomenal play from Rekkles.
It was very impressive, and you saw the cool, calm collection on his face as well. He wasn't phased by it at all. He knew that he could win that fight, and they were able to keep their hopes alive a little bit longer.
A little longer.
But
they still lost the game.
They
won the series. That is what mattered for Fnatic to take third place. And then earlier today, of course, Hansama, he picked up his signature Draven, something he hasn't played since spring. It was in game 3. He cashed in the money with a double kill. And from @Fred40, he says, the second of 1,348 gold cash money. Bling, bling, bling. Get in there, Hansama. All right, what does that mean? Misfits have peeled away. Shockwave onto Perkz.
They got Perkz! Cash in!
Perkz! That was the cash! How much money did he make? Someone find out. Expect is now the target as Misfits and all of Paris are celebrating. It's a double kill for Hansama. Happy birthday, buddy. What did Misfits do with it?
I got it.
Nice. Don't flash Cho. Don't go to him. Cho'gath.
Nice. Very nice. Combo. Push. No, just reset. This is really good.
Vedius, I have one last quick stat for you as we round out the Summer Split finals. In 10 EU LCS finals, only one player has not died, and that is Zven. 0 deaths across the 3 games. Phenomenal.
What an impressive performance and what an impressive player. He came into the LCS with Origin, and ever since he's been in every single European LCS final, and he's looking to replicate that level of performance at the 2017 World Championships in China this year.
And you know what? Because Deficio is not here, we're just going to remind everybody what he said. Zven and Mithy, the best bot lane in the West, because this is the EU LCS broadcast. There were more than just big plays over the weekend here at the Accord Hotels Arena. Before we send it down to Sjokz, let's get a final look.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Bonjour, Paris, comment ça va? Well, this is going to be a good one. I'm joined here by Deficio, by Mithy, and by Perkz to wrap up this wonderful weekend in Paris and, of course, talk a bit more about their victory, as well as looking ahead to the Gauntlet and Worlds. Mithy, we didn't get to talk to you personally in the winner interview yet, so I'd just like to get your thoughts on why it was only a 3-0 versus Misfits, which was rumored to be, of course, a very intense best-of-5 matchup, but it looked simple.
I don't know. I think we're just really good.
I mean, slight boos, but they turned into cheers, because I think if you come here and if you play versus your opponent, whoever that may be, and you play so clean, you have a right to say that. Could you say what exactly you think you guys excelled at today?
Well, I mean, I'm saying this, and sure, I might get boosts and stuff, but I came in here, first game, I came here with no mercy, you know? I was not going to let them get one game if I had the chance not to, and that's how it went. I think we just played better in every single phase of the game. I think early game, they showed up and did some good stuff, but we were ready for whatever they were doing, and even whenever they did something that was good, even in the last game where they had basically 3 winning lanes, we were able to salvage our situation and trade 1 tower for 3 towers, and even though that was not good, it was the best we could get because we would actually just lose the game slowly if we didn't do anything. So I think we were just smarter than them, better than them individually, and just overall a better team.
You guys looked super clean.
I have to go to Perkz straight away. Perkz, your worst champion the entire summer split was Lucian. You had the ego to pick it twice in the final here. Tell me about your Lucian games this time around where you actually managed to win and carry some games on it.
Okay, so Lucian's story is that I've been practicing Lucian since MSI, since I played against Faker in Scrim, and he was so clean, so I had to play it. And then I couldn't play it in MSI because it didn't fit. And then for the summer, it was my most practiced champ, and my whole team just started inting me every time I would pick Lucian.
Honestly, he was inting too.
Like my whole team was just inting me every time I would get ahead with Lucian. My team just decides to do something really stupid and lose my advantage. So my win rate is not so high, but I promise my Lucian is clean.
Well, it showed in game 2 though. We are already having a discussion or crafting the discussion on Desk with Yamato and sOAZ about, we got to see how this Lucian turns out. And then Rengar gets the first blood on you, I believe. And then you guys immediately go bot for people so to get you a double kill. So was that then a kind of, we got to help Perkz out. We know that his Lucian is clean. We're going to, die for him.
I got some attention from the kitty cat here, like Rengar was jumping on me, but it was my fault. I took a bad trade while they had priority, so PowerOfEvil got a good trade on me, and then it was obviously a free dive for them. But it was hard for me to play my matchup because there's Shen and Rengar, so Rengar can always ult with Shen ult, and even if I dash in Orianna, he can always just use Shen ult and then win the trade. So it was just hard for me to lane, but I think my pick was good outside lane anyways. And I played good.
So we're in Paris. Mithy, you played against Hansama, and you played against his Draven as well. What was your reaction when he picked it for a third game?
I think Hansama is a very known Draven player, probably the most known one in EU right now since Freeze is gone. So me and Jasper were actually quite concerned about the Draven pick, so we thought about not blinding Sivir, and even when we picked Kog'Maw, we thought, hey, there's a good chance that he picks Draven here and stuff. So yeah, I think it was something that we knew was going to come out, and we were not really surprised when it came out, and we just played accordingly.
Okay, there's some shenanigans happening. Oh, it's right next to me and I couldn't see it. Wow, great. I think Hansama and PowerOfEvil and Romain are going to put on a show.
The synergy is off.
The synergy is a bit off. Come on with that micro.
Faster, faster, faster. Let's go, speed up the tempo.
We're going to let it play out as it goes faster and faster and faster. And we will also talk to those guys in a minute. Oh, you guys just want to clap with them. All right, there we go then.
Why not?
We are standing by to talk to PowerOfEvil Hansama in just a second, but that's the first time in my life that I had to commentate, the clapping game for a full arena. It's nice.
A new one. I agree. But it's what happens here in Paris with this crowd, so I think it's worth it.
It is worth it, but we do have the interview set up, so we're going to go over to the lovely Laure with PowerOfEvil and Hansama.
Merci beaucoup, Sjokz. Je reprends le contrôle de ce côté de la scène. PoE, vous vous êtes beaucoup amélioré en termes de BO5 depuis le début de la saison et surtout depuis le Summer Split. Comment est-ce que vous avez fait pour devenir aussi fort? You guys improved so much in Best of 5 series since the Summer Split. How did you guys become so strong?
I just felt like in the last week of the regular split, it kind of clicked for us and we played way better.
Vous pouvez les applaudir, ils ont vraiment été très bons sur cette finale.
Well, so pretty much we just are way more decisive. way more concentrated, and the best of fives we just improved a lot on. Just a little bit sad that we couldn't show it today.
And Hansama, actually this weekend was your birthday and your first time in the French crowd. How do you feel celebrating your birthday in front of 10,000 people?
Je pense que c'est un truc incroyable. Merci à tous qui ont...
Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose que tu aimerais leur dire en particulier à toutes les personnes qui sont venues te voir ici aujourd'hui?
Bah, premièrement, merci à tous d'avoir chanté mon anniversaire. Deuxièmement... merci pour votre soutien.
Can you talk to me a bit about the Draven pick you decided to pull out today in the last game?
Alors, le Draven, je voulais vraiment dominer ma lane, du coup, ça n'a pas trop marché dans la troisième game parce que j'ai pas trop bien joué dans la troisième game avec Draven. En lane, je dirais. Mais bon, je suis vraiment content de l'avoir sorti sur ce split, surtout en finale. Et voilà, je suis content.
Yeah, he's really happy he could finally pull out this Draven in the last game of the season. I've got one last question for you guys. This was your first year in the LCS as a team, and this will also be your first year at Worlds. How will you prepare for this first international experience? Fury?
Well, so we go bootcamp in Korea again, and we'll just try our best to spam solo queue, play as a team, and just show that we can play way better on the world stage, and maybe we get even our revenge against G2.
Ansama, même question pour le public français cette fois-ci. Comment est-ce que tu te sens par rapport à cette première tentative au World cette année? Je pense que ça va se passer comment en Chine pour vous? Et comment est-ce que vous allez vous préparer surtout?
Bah, au World, je pense que j'aurai aucune pression parce que là, je pense que je vais rencontrer au moins une team coréenne. Et contre eux, bah, je pense que j'aurai aucune pression, il n'y aura rien à perdre. Et comme les Worlds de l'année dernière, peut-être qu'on a une chance, on verra. Et ces 2 prochaines semaines, on va tryhard à fond, on va aller en bootcamp Corée. Et je vais contre des teams LCK sûrement, et on va tout donner pour les Worlds.
J'espère que ça se passera bien pour vous. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir rejoint sur scène. Thank you very much for joining me after this game. Pour le moment, on va rendre la parole à Sjokz pour qu'elle puisse terminer la journée avec les joueurs de G2. Sjokz, c'est à toi.
Merci beaucoup, Laure. Just asking there, what will be the plan, of course, of Misfits? They're also going to Worlds, and in that it was a kind of a celebratory match, even though you guys both took it very, very serious. They're going to go on boot camp. They have nothing to lose. They have a lot to learn, and that's how also we're looking at that. Mithy, when we were looking at this match from the Analyst, as Yamato mentioned that he felt that Misfits today reverted back to old habits from the spring split. They kind of lost their eye on the macro, and they weren't as clean as they have been in the last part of this season. Do you agree that's what happened, and do you think they will find it again once they get to Worlds?
No, I don't really think so.
Oh, that you don't agree, or?
No, yeah, I don't agree. I think analyzing past Misfits games, we came to the realization that they are a team that doesn't really go for deep vision. They like shallow vision, so they don't really pressure Baron that well. They like to just start Baron and force a team fight. And they also like to just force TPs whenever they start Baron, and then they just back out and look for a fight. So they don't really have a clean way of ending the game because they don't use their pressure hard enough for tier 2 towers and just like deep vision so that we can't face check Baron. So we knew that no matter what happens in the early game, if we can make it to 20 minutes, we can, like we did in the third game, we can just stall the game out and play around their top laner. He is it's very easy to see what he's going to do. He always does the same thing, and we were just ready for it. And I think Fnatic just gave them too many fights when they played against them, and they just played horribly. So yeah, we were ready for it. And I don't think they played different against us than they played against Fnatic.
Oh, okay. So that then doesn't bode too well if we go into or go into Worlds. They do have a couple of things to work on. Perkz, how do you think they can perform at Worlds?
Well, they have improved a lot since beginning of split. I think even individually they've been stepping up. PowerOfEvil is really, really good, and Hansama has stepped up this playoffs so much. Like, he's really good too. So individually, they've been stepping up, and if they pick up their team play, or if they work on their mistakes and their holes in the gameplay, and try to get perfection, like more perfection in the gameplay during the bootcamp, like a lot of things can happen during the 2 weeks. It's not to count them out, and I think they can be a good performer.
For sure, I think just especially if you're a new team, the first time you play against international teams, it's eye-opening. There's not really any other way of looking at it. It's just a complete rework of how you're supposed to play the game. And I'm sure Misfits all of their players are very smart. I talked to all of them, and I think they're very good, and they will become much, much better.
So you guys at MSI obviously learned quite a lot. You got second place. You came back to Europe, and some people took a break, and it was a very slow start. Like, were you still able to actually use some of the things you learned from playing the international teams in Europe? And also, why did it take such a long time for you guys to really start reaching your top level again?
Sure. Well, during the MSI, at first week we were kind of losing most of our scrims, and we were just behind other teams, even though we were the best in Europe by far. We started improving like really fast and learning how to play better together and copying everything from the better teams like SKT and World League and such. And we learned a lot. And then we like during the beginning of split, the meta changed. Like the Reveal and think like it was completely different, the whole early game system. So we had to like work around that, try to find out what do we do with Reveal. Like we had so many theories and we couldn't get to a right conclusion until some point. But I think a lot of stuff about like playing for tempo, playing together, basing together, like just basic stuff. League of Legends is mostly just go back to basics. Like if you are ever slumping or playing worse, you should just go back to basics, and then you can go back from basics and learn what you have to do better and improve your boundaries and just move slowly. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. We improved so much on controlling vision together, denying them camps, and just a lot of things.
How is your level of kind of motivation and tiredness after a whole year again? You got to go to MSI. You guys did really well. You had that little slump in LCS, but now you're back on top. How are you feeling, like physically? Are you ready to just go to that boot camp? Do you have enough energy right now, or I'm not going to drop the word. I'm
ready to take a small break.
Small break.
That's for sure. And
I'm going on vacation.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation too for a while, and I think we have two weeks boot camp organized from our team, and since we basically have like. We will go to boot camp on the 15th, I think. So we decided that that's too long time. So we decided to, I think it's fine. We decided to just go earlier to the boot camp. So we decided to go and get a hotel in Korea and just start playing solo queue right before we start boot camping, so we are warm and we use our 2 weeks as effectively as possible.
Yeah, so warm. Definitely looking forward to going there. Let's think about the third team from EU that's going to go to Worlds. We're going to take a look at the regional qualifier bracket, aka the Gauntlet. And I always think the Gauntlet is such a terrifying word. And if we look at the Gauntlet, damn, it is terrifying, especially for H2K. H2K versus Splice is the first match. Then the winner of that plays the Unicorns of Love the day after. And the winner of that plays Fnatic on the final day. Deficio, you can give your prediction and your thoughts first, after what you've seen, obviously, from H2K and Fnatic here this weekend.
I'm going either Splice or Fnatic. They will take it all. I think actually Splice in the quarterfinal looks super good against you guys.
Maybe you look bad.
Or maybe you guys look really bad. You know, keep me one of the two. But
I was hinting.
I think Splice actually are pretty good at the moment. The problem is they have to win 3 BO5s in a row, so it's super hard to actually prep for all of them. They have to just focus on themselves. So Fnatic winning 1 BO5 after winning here.
Wait. Splice and Fnatic, the faith in H2K is officially gone from Deficio.
For now. Then they will beat Splice or something, and I'm all on the H2K hype train again. But I think Fnatic will take the 3rd seed.
Fnatic takes the 3rd seed in Deficio's eyes. Mithy, what do you think?
I think they should take the 3rd seed, but anything can happen. It's what's the Gauntlet in, like 1 week from now?
Yeah,
and then on top of that, there's going to be quite a few best of 5s, so maybe the meta even changes in the middle of the whole best of 5 system when Unicorn starts playing their weird stuff as they usually do. So it's hard to say, but if I had to bet, I'd probably go with Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic yesterday in the interview was saying nobody's thinking about the Unicorns of Love, and in that kind of setup, is maybe sometimes they don't even know what they're going to do now, but they might surprise. But
I mean, you got to keep in mind, Fnatic will not play Unicorns unless Unicorns win the first BO5. So they will get to see Unicorns play, and if they're pulling out some crazy picks.
Perkz, what do you think?
I thought that Splice, or winner of Splice versus HTK would take it, but I saw Reckless play yesterday, and he was really smurfing. So I changed my mind, and I think Fnatic will take it in the end.
I think if Caps performs, Fnatic should take it.
Right.
Who needs to perform for H2K to take it?
I think H2K overall, I mean, I think their ball lane just has to int a bit less, and then they're good to go, yeah.
All right, I think the answer will be the same, but I'm actually not quite sure. Who would you think is the best third representative at Worlds? Is that also Fnatic after what you've seen from the ups and downs in this year? Do you think maybe a Splice could peak better in those Worlds? I mean, they had a bad year last year, so it can't get any worse.
I mean, going into Worlds, a lot of it comes down to the bootcamp and how good you are at picking up the new meta and actually learning from basically getting smashed by Koreans in scrims. I am a little bit concerned that Fnatic do not adapt and learn fast enough for a bootcamp to be super successful for them, but on the other hand, they might actually change up when they start playing against international teams. So in terms of raw talent, Fnatic should be the best. In terms of how much can you learn from a bootcamp, I'm actually not sure which one of the teams will be best.
Splice.
Splice in terms of learning, and they've gone through, you just said it's such a shock when you do that the first time, it would be a second time for them.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, it is about time for us to sign off. Obviously, the NALCS finals, TSM versus IMT, are going on right now. Can I get a quick prediction from the panel?
Yeah, TSM. TSM's gonna carry.
TSM.
Okay, I guess everyone here also agrees.
I think TSM 3-1, my prediction.
TSM 3-1. Well, there's still a couple of people here listening who've been here all weekend. Is there one of you two who just wants to say a couple of finalizing words, closing words to the weekend, the great weekend we've had here in Paris?
I want to thank all the fans and the whole wonderful crowd that came out here.
You guys are fucking awesome.
I started my career in France, actually, with Millennium 2.5 years ago. And it feels good and feels a bit sweet to come here and win now in Paris, like where I was playing LANs 2 years ago. So yeah, just thank you all.
I've had a great opportunity to win quite a few finals now with G2, and it's always been a little bit bittersweet because we didn't really have a lot of fans. We had we had a lot of fans, but still had a lot of haters, and it actually felt that way when we played on stage, especially like in the finals of big events. And I think this is the first time that it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you guys just support us as much as other teams. So I'm really, really grateful for this, and yeah, I love you guys.
I mean, I think as a broadcast team, we can only echo that sentiment. The Paris crowd has been pretty crazy. Merci beaucoup. Vous êtes tout formidable. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. We're going to sign off, and we'll see you next week for the Gauntlet. So, au revoir à tous. Bye-bye, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Merci.
There's fire in the atmosphere, moving in synergy, this electricity.
Yeah, but we had a rough year and now we're back. We're great. Welcome everyone, it's the Summer Split. Henning may have chosen for Fnatic, but I chose correctly. So I'm going to stick with my G2 vote, and you better trust me. Here comes the Stad United, he wants the big outplay, dodges the hook, he's going to rat-a-tat-tat and spray and pray!
Will you and the Unicorns of Love go to Worlds? For sure.
Brothers is running away! Give it to him, Sven! No, he's so far away! No, he's on his way, he's on his way! He's trying to get himself killed, Dara comes in, Sven goes for it now, Sven, he's like... No! He's going to be killed! Oh! Second penta ever.
He's looking for a new track. He's pushing for a new track.
Knocked up. This should be a kill for Rocket. They will not take that down. Oh, wait, does he escape from that? He's got his hand in his hands. Sonyas! He goes with the Sonyas! The others underneath the tower as well! He's still alive!
Puts the damage and the feathers out. Ash arrow into the face. Oh, he's gonna go. Summer goes down. H2K are acing Misfits.
Can he go for it all? Looking for that penta on Nagni, and he does it! A pentakill for Nuxa! V4 victory!
Pushing them, no reason to back away at the moment. Right, Ignar, what is he doing? Dun dun. Yeah, that's an ignite. Oh, the healing coming in, there's a Sjokz. Oh my god, outplayed! Outplayed! 1, 2, 3, okay!
Rocket recognized no royalty! They bow to no one!
Was one of the most impressive wins I have seen against Fnatic.
I'm not even watching the group standings because I just know that I'm gonna win the whole thing anyway. So.
It's time to begin the 2017 EU LCS Summer Playoffs.
And Summer and the Misfits are gonna play clean up crew. He's going through the beta. He gets the triple, he gets the quadra. Give us a penta!
And Mithy tries to get the pulverize down. Locks in the shockwave deletes G2 Esports. They force a game 5. Sends Sjokz away from the fight. Mithy is zoning him. That's a double kill for Expect.
We are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 of the semifinals here in Europe. Fnatic falling to the hands of Misfits.
A little more Expect back into the team, and that's gonna do it.
They're gonna punch their ticket to Paris, and they'll see Misfits in the finals.
Fnatic destroy H2K.
Reckless gets the turnaround.
What a win coming in from Fnatic.
Barrett's going low. Shockwave won't be enough, and it's not secured. G2 taking down. Misfits now falling, now getting crushed. Summer needs to do something magical, but he cannot. And Misfits are G2 Esports get themselves another kill, and for the first time in history, the 4th consecutive EU LCS title. G2 Esports are the best team in Europe.